So, it's a true pleasure to introduce my good friend and buddy. This is Michael Kim Rose, artist, songwriter, lyricist.
I don't know how I can live up to that introduction, Don. Thank you so much. I want to say that I admire Don Diker so much. I was a grad student in Miami in the mid '70s, and I never had an opportunity to take Don Diker for class then, even though all my classmates there said, you got to take Diker, you got to take Diker, but he never taught a class that I really needed. I had many gaps in my reading for my master's degree at that point, but the Melville and the 19th century Americans were not one of them. I was pretty well prepared, so I didn't take Don Diker there. So when we met up again in 2010 in Lausanne, Switzerland, I immediately recognized him. He, of course, had no clue who I was from, 40 years almost before. But I went up and introduced myself and told him about, I was a grad student in Miami back in 1974, and everybody said you had to take Don Diker and take Don Diker, and I said, but I never did. And he said, why not? So, we've been great friends ever since. One of my very best friends, and we see each other online now, mostly weekly, talking about Hemingway, and now we're on James Joyce. It's an honor, a great honor for me to follow him tonight, and a great honor to follow the Odawa drummers out there. That was tremendous. I really love that. A little context about my songs, though. I've been writing songs since my college days, but I didn't write a Hemingway-inspired song until 2016 when Harry Stoneback, H.R. Stoneback, I don't know how many of you are familiar with him, as a great Hemingway scholar who just passed away late last year, and left a real vacancy, really, in the Hemingway Society. He cast a large shadow, let's put it that way. And very charismatic, and he was a songwriter and singer himself. And every Hemingway conference, even well before my time, would lead poetry and music sessions at the Hemingway conferences. And in 2016, though, he issued a challenge to anybody in the Hemingway Society to write a Hemingway-inspired song and sing it at the Music and Poetry Night in Oak Park. And so I took up the challenge, and the first song that I wrote that year for that conference was the second song I'm going to play tonight, called Unfinished Church, which is taken from Sun Also Rises. And he apparently liked it well enough that he then asked me to sing it at the Paris conference in 2018 at the opening ceremony at the Eiffel Tower, which was kind of like, one of those moments in my life. I get to sing a Hemingway song in the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Jeez. And I also wrote my second song, a Hemingway song called Caporetto, which I will sing first tonight for that conference. And then I wrote the third one in 2020. We didn't have a conference that year, but we had Holidays with Hemingway. And Suzanne Del Gizzo, the editor of the Hemingway Review, asked me to do some music for the online Holidays with Hemingway thing on Zoom. And I wrote Hunger is Good Discipline for that. So I've been working at this really rapid pace of writing a Hemingway song every 2 years, and so who knows how many I'll have by the end of my life. I don't think I'm finished, but now I have a fourth one, and I'm going to debut it tonight. You're the first audience to hear it. It'll be another song about Farewell to Arms. And I promise I'll be done with Farewell to Arms after I do that one. But this is the first one that I wrote about Farewell to Arms, because I spent 3 years working on that book on a Farewell to Arms. I was, I kind of like lived, ate, and slept Farewell to Arms for 3 years, and that's all I could think about. So it was easy to write. And and these are Hemingway-inspired songs, I should say. But Caporetto, the song that I'm about to sing, is of the four, it's the one that's probably most true to the novel that it's taken from. The others kind of take a phrase or a sentence of Hemingway and go off in a way that that I want it to go, whatever, however you want to say it. But Caporetto is an attempt to kind of present the events that happen in Book 3 of A Farewell to Arms, the Caporetto retreat, the disastrous retreat, which is at the center of that novel. The orders came down when the Huns broke through Caporetto, dropping some gas shells and raining down fire from the sky. There's just one job: get your damn trucks off the Bain Seesaw, bring down the wounded and leave all the dead where they lie. Farewell to what's left of the mountain of San Gabriele. Farewell to the barbed wire, farewell to the collar's charms. Farewell to the trenches, farewell to the rocks on the car sole. I'm making a separate piece. I'm making a separate piece. I'm making a separate piece. Farewell to arms. Viva la pace, they cry, andiamo a casa. They throw down their guns in the mud and the blood and take flight. A 50-mile trail from Cormona to Old Pordenone. Women and babies and horses and dogs in the night. Farewell to what's left of the mountain of San Gabriele. Farewell to the barbed wire, farewell to the collar's charm. Farewell to the trenches, farewell to the rocks on the car sole. I'm making a separate piece. I'm making a separate piece. I'm making a separate piece. Farewell to arms. Now this next line would have been excised by the people at Scribner's, I think. Your trucks are all stuck in the muck and you're fucked at Cadroipo. The Carabinieri, they're sure you're a Jerry spy. Dragged down to a drumhead trial by the Coltagliamento. I don't like your accent, signore, for this you must die. Farewell to what's left of the mountain of San Gabriele. Farewell to the barbed wire, farewell to the collar's charms. Farewell to the trenches, farewell to the rocks on the car sole. I'm making a separate piece. I'm making a separate piece. I'm making a separate piece. Farewell to arms. Thank you. Pardon me? Better, yes. I know now. I know what you mean. Yeah, quite a bit better. Charlotte is referring to my experience in Wyoming when they had me singing on trivia night, and so everybody came already. Some of them were already well lubricated, and ready to party. And I was supposed to sing at the beginning before the trivia, but they were about half of them were there for the trivia, and they were there to party. So it was hard for me to sing over them. It was a little challenging, but we got through it. Charlotte she got up and tried to. I appreciated that, Charlotte, but it was a lost cause. Yeah, right. There were a few that were there to listen, and I really appreciated it. So this is Unfinished Church, and the first Hemingway song that I wrote, and it's taken from a line in the last chapter of The Sun Also Rises, when Jake arrives in Madrid to rescue Brett, who is sent him a telegram while he's in San Sebastian trying to recuperate from the disastrous fiesta. And so he goes to Madrid, takes the all-night train and arrives in Madrid in the morning. And he takes a taxi then from the train station up to her hotel. And on the way, he passes the unfinished church. I think it's maybe the unfinished church in the book, isn't it? The unfinished church on the edge of a cliff, as if, everybody knows about that, the unfinished church on the edge of the cliff in Madrid. I've never gotten to Madrid to try to identify that church. I hope it's been finished by now. That would have been 1925. But I thought, what a great metaphor, really. I think it's a very, very important metaphor in the novel, symbol in the novel, for Jake's state of mind at the end of the novel. But I took it and ran with it a little bit. So I wrote it in 2016, kind of influenced by the state of the world in some ways, and so I wanted to write a song about, that would hopefully maybe bring people together. Of course, and we've all come together since then, and all the problems have been solved since 2016, right? Yeah. Yeah, it worked. There's an unfinished church on the edge of a cliff. Construction was halted, the result of a rift. It's bone-breaking labor, so hot and so hard. But we'll see its completion if we lay down the sword. Stone upon stone, lift brothers live, for to finish that church on the edge of the cliff. A trainload of pilgrims stops in Bayonne, but there's many more stations before the end of the run. Montparnasse dandies will claw out your heart. Remember what happened in the cathedral at Chartres. Stone upon stone, shift upon shift, for to finish that church on the edge of the cliff. They're shooting off rockets to run with the bulls. The streets filled with voices of cretins and fools. My generation is seeking its rest, lost like all others, no more, but no less. Stone upon stone, lift brothers left, for to finish that church on the edge of the cliff. Life's a fiesta, the trout fishing's fine. We've been filling our bellies with pig meat and wine. Darkness is falling, the night blows his horn, but the earth abides forever and the sun brings the morn. Stone upon stone, shift upon shift, for to finish that church on the edge of the cliff. Stone upon stone, be strong and be swift, for to finish that church on the edge of the cliff. For to finish that church on the edge of the cliff. Thank you. Now I got to switch guitars. Check the tuning on it. That's low. Hunger is good discipline, taken from A Movable Feast. There's a chapter with that title. It's a great one. It's one of my favorites in that book, which, you know, it's a memoir. Hemingway tells us we can read it as fiction if we want to. And in that chapter, he talks about his struggles to write and telling himself to write one good sentence, one true sentence, from which my friend Mark Chirino took the name of his podcast. If you haven't listened to Mark's podcast on Hemingway, I highly recommend it. It's really great. Mark's a tremendous interviewer. Wouldn't you agree, Don? He really is good. He's a natural, and they've had people from throughout the Hemingway world, as well as well-known writers as well. And Don, you've done a session that has not been released yet, right? So we're looking forward to that. That's going to be a good one. So Hunger is Good Discipline starts out a little dark, but bear with me. It's got 9 verses, so it's a little long, but it gets better and more optimistic and positive as it goes along. So it tries to build to a positive ending. So. That's not right. Sorry. This guitar is a little temperamental tonight. Okay, now we're ready. Paris in December, iron clouds about to clash. Your words have all been stolen, your pockets full of ash. Your sentences are comatose, like bodies in a morgue. Hunger is good discipline in Jardin de Luxembourg. Up and down the boulevard, Raspail and Saint Michel. You wonder if you'll wander into paradise or hell. You stop and gaze at Marshal Ney, who gestures with his sword. Hunger is good discipline in Jardin de Luxembourg. It's easy here to lose your way. Paris has no rules. They tempt you with the opium, the absinthe, and les poules. So many souls are in retreat from nightmares of the war. Hunger is good discipline in Jardin de Luxembourg. Old men at a chessboard beneath the barren trees. Faces wrapped in woolen scarves, their hands between their knees. The bishop takes the faithless knight. The rook just bars the door. Hunger is good discipline in Jardin de Luxembourg. Step inside La Musée to speak with Paul Cézanne. You ache to write the way he paints the landscapes of Provence. Il faut d'abord durer, il dit, comme la vieille Sainte-Victoire. Hunger is good discipline in Jardin de Luxembourg. Down on Rue de l'Odéon, in Shakespeare's company, Sylvia smiles to see your face. She offers you black tea. The smell of books and candle wax, papers on the floor. Hunger is good discipline in Jardin de Luxembourg. Pass by the roasted chestnuts, the mandarins and spice, the cheeses and the long baguettes. Don't think about them twice. The plums, the apples, et les éclairs, croissants sold by the score. Hunger is good discipline in Jardin de Luxembourg. You learned it all from Ezra, Gertrude, and Mark Twain. Turgenev, Tolstoy, and Flaubert walk with you by the Seine. They say that Joyce went starving here. Verlaine, Stendhal, George Moore. Hunger is good discipline in Jardin to Luxembourg. So write your one true sentence, the truest that you know. And once it's settled on the page, on from there you go. You know that you can do it. You did it once before. Hunger is good discipline in Jardin to Luxembourg. Tried to capture Paris in that. I think my own first experience of Paris was a little bit like that. Not that I was trying to write great short stories like Hemingway at that point, but I was hungry. I know that. I didn't have much money. Okay. Now for the debut. Where did I, there it is. Rinaldi and the Priest. Oh yeah, and I can't forget the harmonica. I'm a big Bob Dylan fan too, in case you didn't know. And I go to retune one string. Should be. Come down to F right there. C. Harmonica holder wants to slip down on me. See, I can't reach it down there. Don't go any further on me. This is called Rinaldi and the Priest, two characters in Farewell to Arms. If you're familiar with that, Rinaldi and the priest are probably Frederick's two best friends. This is before he meets Catherine Barclay. And they represent complete opposites in terms of worldview and the way they live. Rinaldi is, a series of one-night stands kind of guy, get drunk and get laid, and as much as possible, and is an atheist. Whereas the priest, of course, is a devout Catholic, very spiritual, and very much about love, but he has to admit to Frederick that he can't really give him advice on how to love a woman because he never has. So Frederick ultimately, in my view anyway, finds a middle ground. He finds a way to combine the best of both Rinaldi and the priest with Catherine. But Catherine doesn't show up in this song, so we don't. We're left with an unresolved conflict. You won't steal the breath of a woman, said Rinaldi to the priest. Never peel her dress in the moonlight, never bathe in the sweet release. And you won't know the scent of her shoulders the morning after the victory feast. and you won't hear her true confessions, said Rinaldi to the priest. You'll get no satisfaction, dear Rinaldi, said the priest. 1,000 little pretty darlings cannot speed your heart to peace, and your moon can't measure the meaning of a star hanging in the east, and you'll never sate your hunger, dear Rinaldi, said the priest. Your words are just illusion, said Rinaldi to the priest. A dog can't beg for freedom if he's never been unleashed. The old man that you pray to in the morning's long deceased, and you're only chasing shadows, said Rinaldi to the priest. I've been up top the mountain, dear Rinaldi, said the priest, and I felt of a hand that moved me, and I say you're the one who's fleeced. To love someone is to serve them, whether he's most or least, and I pray you'll learn this lesson, dear Rinaldi, said the priest. Some days I'm with Rinaldi, some days I'm with a priest. Some days I fly with angels, some days I ride the beast. Some days I lie in prison, some days I've been released. Some days I'm with Rinaldi, some days with the priest. Thank you. Okay, so that's it for the harmonica. Now, the next is a special treat by request of Charlotte Ponder, who contacted me after the Wyoming debacle. So maybe we should have a sing-along. And this song, she tells me, because I was not familiar with the song. The song goes to the 1920s. And I'm not sure exactly when Hemingway discovered the song, but but apparently it was one of his favorites in the last years of his life, right?
He was out west, so,
Out west when he discovered it?
yeah, I mean,
That would be appropriate.
they sang it in that cabin out on Silver Creek and everything, and they had a lot of parties out there, and he always wanted everybody to sing that, but, I had only ever heard the chorus at the time I told you about it.
Uh-huh.
And I looked it up and found out of course you can find anything on Google now, but, anyway, we had to learn it and sing along. It was pretty pitiful because the person leading the singing suddenly couldn't carry a tune for her life. And, but she was Michael Riddle's assistant. So anyway, he's the one who discovered this from anecdotes of friends out there. And 96, we were in Sun Valley.
Okay, that's where it was, 96 in Sun Valley. Okay, I was before my time, and I surely wish I had been there. So this is a piano song, and that's all I could find on the internet was piano music to it. So I had to figure out the guitar chords to it, and I did the best I could. I think I come fairly close. Okay. Well set. Should I run through the chorus once with the group before we go through the whole song then? So that you can sing along when we get to the chorus? Okay, the chorus goes like this. Saloon, saloon. Wait a minute, this cable's in my way here, so it's muffling my guitar. Saloon, saloon, saloon. It's doing it again. Yeah, I'm going to pull it out. Just get it out. There we go. It runs through my brain like a tune. I don't like cafe, and I hate cabaret, but just mention saloon. I think I need to slow it down a little bit. My cares fade away, for it brings back a fond recollection of a little old low ceiling room with a bar and a rail and a dime and a pail. Saloon, saloon, saloon. That's easy enough, isn't it? Okay. So I've been looking through the dictionary for a word that's always running through my mind. Though I love the name of brother, I was looking for another, and I must confess that word I cannot find. Can it be that all its glories are forgotten, and it's buried with the language of the Greek? If it is, 'twill ever linger in my memory as the first word that I heard my daddy speak. Saloon, saloon, saloon. It runs through my brain like a tune. I don't like cafe, and I hate cabaret, but just mention saloon and my cares fade away, for it brings back a fond recollection of a little old low ceiling room with a bar and a rail and a dime and a pail. Saloon, saloon, saloon. Second verse. The second chorus has different words, by the way, just letting you know that, but it's the same tune. I can picture swinging doors wide open. Yeah, that has to be out west. I can almost see the sawdust on the floor. And I dream of pals and cronies drinking highballs, steins, and ponies. I don't know, what's a pony?
Tiny little beer this tall.
Oh, okay.
For breakfast.
Okay.
I've heard.
And I can see the name of Eric on the door. I don't know what, I think it's some proprietor, I suppose, Eric. But the free lunch counter now is but a memory. It has vanished with the joys we used to know. Nevermore we'll hear that old familiar parting. Just one drink, boys, just one more before we go. Saloon, saloon, saloon. Have you been forgotten so soon? You nestled so sweet in that little side street, so respected, protected by the cops on the beat. Since you left us, the world seems in darkness, like a cloud passing over the moon. No more joys in my life, no more lies to my wife. Saloon, saloon, saloon. All right, now you know it, and you'll have to sing it again sometime in the future, right? Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.